Hello and welcome to South Asia Chat, brought to you by the Institute of South Asian Studies at the National University of Singapore. I'm your host, Ronojoy Sen, a senior research fellow at the Institute. The Bharatiya Janata Party returned to power on December 8th in Gujarat, which is also Prime Minister Narendra Modi's home state, for the seventh consecutive time, winning a record-breaking 156 out of 182 seats and seeing a jump in its vote share to 52.5%. The BJP's victory bettered the previous Congress record of winning 149 seats in 1985 under Madhav Singh Solanki. The Aam Aadmi Party's entry into Gujarat had dramatically changed the political equations in the state. Although AAP won 5 seats with a vote share of around 13%, it ate into the main opposition party, the Congress's vote share, ensuring its decimation. The Congress won just 17 seats and saw its vote share shrink to a mere 27%. The Congress did, however, win a consolation victory in Himachal Pradesh, where it won a majority, 40 out of 68 seats, although its vote share was only marginally more than the ruling BJP. To discuss the recent election results, we have with us today Professor Sanjay Kumar. Professor Kumar is professor and co-director of Lokniti, a research program at the Center for the Study of Developing Societies, better known as the CSDS. His core area of research is electoral politics, particularly on using the survey method as a research tool. He has been engaged in conducting research on a wide range of themes, including Indian youth, state of democracy in South Asia, Indian farmers, slums of Delhi, and electoral violence. He has published widely, written several books, edited volumes, contributed chapters for several edited volumes, published articles in various national and international research journals. His most recent book is Elections in India, an overview published by Routledge in 2021. Besides his academic writing, Professor Kumar writes regularly for both national and regional newspapers, both in English and in Hindi. He has also been an international election observer in many countries. Welcome, Sanjay, to the podcast.
Thank you, Ronojoy, for having me for this discussion on Indian elections 2022.
Thanks. So let me just fire the first question. So, based on the CSDS Lokniti surveys, what do you think were the primary reasons for the BJP doing much better than expected in Gujarat and winning for the seventh successive time, which is no mean achievement, with a record number of seats?
Ronojoy, a couple of things. One, in your introduction, you rightly mentioned that Aam Aadmi Party has played a role of a spoiler for Congress. If we look at the combined vote share of Congress and Aam Aadmi Party, and if we compare it with BJP's vote share, there are 54 assembly constituencies where the combined vote share of Congress and Aam Aadmi Party is higher than the BJP's vote share polled in these constituencies. While we cannot say for sure that if Aam Aadmi Party was not contesting these elections, all those votes would have got transferred to Congress. But at least we get a sense that BJP actually gained 40 or 50 seats more than what it may have got if Aam Aadmi Party was not contesting election. That's one factor. That was one factor for BJP's massive victory in 2022. But that's not the only factor. We must remember that BJP's vote share has gone up. Last assembly election, BJP's vote share was 48%. This time BJP's vote share is 52.5. This is an indication of increased support base of BJP in the state. So it's not merely division of vote which has helped BJP. Its increased support base has also helped the BJP in winning such a massive victory. And one important factor which contributed to that was Prime Minister Modi's massive campaign in the state. If we go by the CSDS post poll data, 48% of the voters in Gujarat made up their mind which party to vote for during the last couple of days, 48 hours before the polling. Ronojoy, we have never seen such a large proportion of voters making up their mind during last 48 hours of election campaign. And if we look at the vote shift or the tendency to vote or the choice of these 48% voters who made up their mind on the last 48 hours, very heavily tilted in favor of BJP. Not that voters who had made up their mind earlier did not vote for BJP, they also voted for BJP. But I think This last minute shift gave BJP a massive push, which resulted in such a massive victory of BJP in 2022.
Right. Okay. That's a very succinct summary of why the BJP did so much better than was being anticipated. Although almost everyone expected it to win, but not by such a large margin. So you mentioned, of course, the role of the Aam Aadmi Party, as well as the exceptionally high number of voters who made a last minute decision 48 hours or so before the polling day. So how central would you say was Prime Minister Modi to BJP's success, and would this kind of victory margin have been possible without his presence and the number of rallies, as you pointed out, that he addressed?
Certainly not. If Prime Minister Modi was not at the forefront of Gujarat Assembly election campaign, I don't think that BJP would have registered such a massive victory. I cited one of the data, which is that large number of voters made up their mind on the during last 48 hours of campaign, and they voted for BJP in a big way. I think this was an impact of Prime Minister Modi's long road shows, rallies. If you go by, if you look at how Prime Minister Modi campaigned in Gujarat during last 5 6 months, Prime Minister Modi uh, led, I think, almost 80 kilometers of road show. There were different road shows done by Prime Minister Modi. If we look at the large scale rallies which he addressed, almost 3 dozen rallies, more than 3 dozen rallies, big public rallies, Prime Minister Modi has delivered speech in these rallies. I think what BJP did was to make this election, contested this election on the issue of Gujarati Asmita, the pride of Gujarati. And Prime Minister Modi represented that pride of Gujarati. So Gujaratis see Prime Minister Modi as their icon, or a star for India, and they also see Prime Minister Modi as a person who has lifted India's image in the world. So it was an election contested only and only from BJP's point of view on the issue of Gujarati Asmita, Gujarati pride, and a lot of Gujaratis believe this is the time to strengthen the hands of Prime Minister Modi. Yes, there were anxieties about the quality of governance of BJP during last 5 years when it comes to say unemployment, price rise, or corruption. But I think when it came to voting, when they decided which party to vote for, Gujarati Asmita, the issue, the sense of Gujarati's pride overshadowed all these issues. So Prime Minister Modi was at the forefront of BJP's campaign, and I would agree that if Prime Minister Modi was not at the forefront of BJP's campaign, BJP would have won this election anyway. But this big victory is only and only because of Prime Minister Modi.
Right. So just to move on to the Congress now, the Congress, of course, saw a dramatic decline in its vote share as well as the number of seats that it won. Was that mostly due to the presence of AAP, which you've already mentioned, or was it also due to a lackluster campaign that the Congress seemed to have run?
Both factors, Ronojoy. One, yes, if you look at the vote share of the three parties, so BJP's vote share is going up. Congress vote share has come down to 27% compared to 41% votes it polled in the last assembly election. Aam Aadmi Party polled 13% vote. So where is this vote shift towards Aam Aadmi Party coming from? It is directly coming from Congress. Um, there is a clear evidence of that. We have seen this happening in Delhi. We have seen similar kind of a trend in Punjab. So clearly, Aam Aadmi Party ate into the Congress support base, and Aam Aadmi Party and Congress enjoys more or less the same support base in other states as well. But the second factor was also responsible for Congress poor performance, lackluster campaign of Congress party. Congress was nowhere present during the campaign, and in order to cover up, I would say, I would use the word cover up. Congress candidates kept saying, the leaders kept saying, we have engaged in a silent campaign, whisper campaign, door to door campaign. Our people are on the ground. I don't think Congress was really serious about campaigning, serious about contesting these elections. So I think lot of Congress candidates who managed to win election, the victory is more of the candidate rather than of the party. So yes, both the factors resulted in Congress poor performance in 2022 Gujarat Assembly elections.
Right. The Congress, of course, did win a state election, namely in Himachal Pradesh, on its own after a long time. So, what worked for the Congress in Himachal Pradesh? Do you think does that represent a template for the Congress in other states, or do you think not really?
Very difficult to say whether this is a template which Congress can replicate in other states. But clearly, the evidences from the Lokniti CSDS survey indicate that this was an election where local issues dominated the election scene. So, local issues were on the top of voters' mind. And if I cite two or three local issues, one was the old pension scheme, uh, the issue of Agniveer, the new recruitment scheme for the army, and the increase of GST on the packaging of apples. These were the three issues which were on the ground. Lot of almost on all these issues like Agniveer, 50 more than 50% of the voters opposed this scheme. When we asked this question about increase of GST on packaging of apple boxes, a large number of people were against this government's decision. And when it came to the OPS, this was a promise which Congress was making, that if we come to power, we will implement the old pension scheme. And there was a lot of support for this Congress promise. Again, 52% of the people supported this Congress promise. And if we look at these 50-55% people who supported these things, these issues, a huge majority of them voted in favor of Congress. So clearly, the issues which were on the ground worked in favor of Congress. Congress was effectively campaigning, taking help of these issues. They were moving from one village to another, one constituency to another, uh, using these schemes as their tool for campaign. Uh, Also, if we look at the last minute shift, if we look at those voters who were the party loyalists, I think BJP had an edge. If we look at those voters who made up their mind long before elections were announced, BJP was slightly ahead. But slowly and gradually, on the last few days of campaign, Congress took lead because I think Congress was able to convince the voter that this is an election about the local issues, not about Ram Mandir or the big national issues.
Right. So the emphasis on local issues and the outreach by the Congress, as you mentioned, helped the party do at least better than what was being anticipated initially. So let's move on to the Aam Aadmi Party, and we've talked a little bit about the Aam Aadmi already. The AAP, despite its relatively poor showing, one might say, has been playing up its performance as a transition to a national party. That's what something the AAP spokespersons were repeatedly saying after the results were announced. But do you think is that true, or do you think it's merely playing the role of a spoiler, as you mentioned, for the Congress in states that have traditionally been bipolar, a contest between the Congress and the BJP?
Ronoji, I think every political party has a right to contest election. And yes, there are critique or there are opinions that Aam Aadmi Party is playing a role of the spoiler. But I think every political party has a right to contest election. Every political party desires to expand. So I don't see Aam Aadmi Party as a spoiler. Yes, if you look at the data, the analysis, Aam Aadmi Party has won 5 seats. They managed to win to poll 13% vote. Uh, there are two ways of looking at this number. If you compare it with the last assembly election, which Aam Aadmi Party contested in Gujarat, 1.5% vote. If you compare it with that, I think Aam Aadmi Party performed very well in a state which is a stronghold of BJP, a state from where Prime Minister Narendra Modi comes from, Home Minister Amit Shah's home state. Despite massive campaign of BJP, Aam Aadmi Party managed to get 13% vote. The Aam Aadmi Party won 5 seats. In my opinion, this is a decent performance. Yes, party leaders would have expected a much better performance. And an important point to note is that at least Aam Aadmi Party has been able to dispel this notion that Aam Aadmi Party is only an urban party. If you look at the 13% vote of Aam Aadmi Party, it is equally spread in rural Gujarat as well as urban Gujarat. So it's not only an euphoria among the urban Gujaratis or the urban Indians. There is an indication that Aam Aadmi Party is trying to expand, or acceptability of Aam Aadmi Party is increasing even among the rural voters. At least Gujarat, the vote share of Aam Aadmi Party in Gujarat is an indication to that. Technically, Aam Aadmi Party becomes a national party because there are different criteria. You need a party needs 6% or more votes in four states, and after Goa, Delhi, and Punjab, Gujarat is the fourth state where Aam Aadmi Party has got more than 6% vote. So Aam Aadmi Party becomes a national party. It adds to the perception or the euphoria Aam Aadmi Party would be able to create. In my opinion, if we look at the data from the surveys which we are doing in other states, people have started looking at Aam Aadmi Party as an alternative to BJP at the national level. I'm not saying that they can replace Congress in 2024, but given that Congress has been losing elections after election, people have started looking forward to Aam Aadmi Party as a possible challenger to BJP. So I think there is this emergence of Aam Aadmi Party from state party to the national as a national party would add to this increasing perception among the people. So I think uh, Aam Aadmi Party, despite losing elections in Gujarat, I think Aam Aadmi Party stands to gain in the long run for the national politics.
And finally, the results in the Delhi municipal elections would have also come as a shot in the arm for the Aam Aadmi Party. And one of the points one of the leaders was making, that the results, of course, were announced before the assembly elections. If these had been sort of announced, if these had happened before the elections were held, maybe Aam Aadmi Party might have sort of done better.
Absolutely, I agree. I also agree, Ronanjay, that if municipal elections were held on time, Aam Aadmi Party would have done much better in Delhi municipal elections, because still compared to other parties, compared to BJP, Aam Aadmi Party is a very small party, and when elections were held announced in for Delhi municipal elections, along with the Gujarat Assembly election, the party's resources were divided, resources of all kind, manpower, money power, etc. And they had, and Arvind Kejriwal, the top leader of the party, had to give divided attention to Gujarat and uh, Delhi municipal election. That actually, was some kind of a setback for Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party did manage to win the MCD elections, but I think Aam Aadmi Party would have certainly registered a much bigger victory if MCD elections were not held along with the Gujarat Assembly elections.
Thank you, Sanjay, for those insights, and look forward to more such discussions in the future. You were listening to South Asia Chat. If you wish to learn more about our work, visit us at isas.nus.edu.sg. Thank you.